Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Gerard Pratt, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is leading aircraft woman Monica Verma. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors and students on behalf of the following school. From Western Australia, Christian Brothers College, Fremantle. If able, I invite you all now to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Corporal Frederick Charles Puddephatt. Frederick Charles Puddephatt was born on the 18th of November 1883 at Barranduda, near Wodonga in northern Victoria. Known as Fred to his family and friends, he was the youngest of 9 children born to John and Anne Puddephatt. He was an active and popular member of the Wodonga Rifle Club and a valued member at the Wodonga Tennis Club, where he earned a reputation as being an honest player and good sport. He worked as a labourer. Puddephatt enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 16th of March 1915 and soon joined the newly formed 24th Infantry Battalion, which formed part of the 6th Brigade of the 2nd Australian Division. Less than a month later, he sailed with his unit from Melbourne to Egypt, where he began training and preparing for war. Puddephatt and the 24th Battalion arrived on Gallipoli in early September 1915 and began defending the Australian lines at Lone Pine. Lone Pine had been the site of bitter fighting the month before, and Puddephatt and the 24th Battalion took part in holding the Lone in the months that followed. They did not take part in any major battle, but instead faced a grinding war of attrition, manning the front line and resting behind the front. Conditions were so harsh that battalions were cycled between frontline duties and rest on almost a daily basis, and the men faced machine gun, sniper, artillery fire regularly. Puddephatt endured the fighting at Lone Pine for almost 3 months. During this period, he distinguished himself and was promoted to the rank of temporary corporal. On the 29th of November 1915, only weeks before the evacuation of Gallipoli, Puddephatt was manning the trenches near Lone Pine when his sector of the front came under extremely heavy Turkish artillery fire. Puddephatt was talking to a small group of fellow soldiers in a lightly dugout when a shell burst through the roof and killed him instantly. He was 32 years old and was dearly missed by his fellow soldiers. He is buried at the Lone Pine Cemetery in Turkey, where over 1,150 soldiers of the First World War now lie. In a second tragedy of the Puddephatt family, his older brother Thomas was killed less than 6 months later, fighting on the Western Front in France. Corporal Frederick Charles Puddephatt's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Corporal Frederick Charles Puddephatt, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.